3 years ago, I have this idea to have like a video podcasty type of thing where I'm talking about rhythm and the philosophy of music, which Okay, let's see what we got. So 3 years ago, I came up with this idea to talk about drums and I can't talk. But let's start over. 3 years ago, words just now I spit. Me. 3 years ago, I was under the delusion that people would care what I have to say. 3 years later, the internet is full of people with things to say, more full than it was 3 years ago. 3 years is a long time in between saying you'll do a thing and the thing actually getting done. So here's what happened.
Here, in this place, on this stage, we are family.
We're going to build a wall. It's going to be built.
So now what? So my camera broke, or rather I broke off a jack in the mic line, and now I have to figure out how to fix this on my own because I don't have any money. So I'm in Lowe's trying to find some super glue for a very risky experiment. So, ultra gel control, no drip or run, hopefully. And yeah, more to come. Oh my God, I didn't think it would be so hard. I spent the whole day trying to figure out how to fix my camera. So what happened was I was an idiot, didn't secure my cords properly, stepped on the cord, yanked the jack inside the camera, and broke off the tip. Now, because YouTube can fix mostly everything, Twizzlers can too, by the way, I spent most of my day trying to figure out how to dislodge the tiniest little tip of the headphone jack without damaging the camera. And I got it done. But then I Hold on. But then I started recording the second part of this video. If you guys haven't noticed, even though I'm wearing the same shirt, my hair is a little longer. My facial hair is a little different because it's not the same day. Full disclosure, I'm off script too. I spent a lot of today writing the script that I'm about to say, for better or for worse. And then I got halfway through it. I didn't realize that the memory card was full. I am making every single amateur mistake I could possibly be making. And so this was supposed to be out weeks ago. Not only am I a procrastinating klutz, but I am, for the time being, entirely inept at the production side. So if you see sadness in my eyes while I'm trying to tell you about, my you know why. I'm going to read this to you. I was going to be all excited and YouTube-y. Nope. Here we go. Oh, yeah. And low battery. I'm going to break the first rule of YouTube and look down at my paper where the words are instead of the camera. Episode 1. Yay. The Rhythmic cheat sheet is a collection of phrases that, if I can read. The Rhythmic cheat sheet is a collection of simple phrases I used. The Rhythmic cheat sheet is a collection of simple phrases I at first used as sort of an expansion pack for many of the books and methods I practice. Many of the classic drum books don't outline a clear path for understanding odd subdivisions and odd groupings. But because of this, a lot of enlightened and inquisitive drummers and teachers learned how to make those books work for them. And they discovered new interpretations building on the foundations that the greats have left behind. The beauty of the cheat sheet really isn't in the rhythms themselves, but in the approach. Personally, I use it to hack other people's shit. But before I get into that, I need to clear something up that's been bugging me for a while. These are not triplets. To me, rhythm exists on 3 different dimensions or 3 different levels. Groupings, subdivisions, and time signatures. Groupings for our purposes are going to be those numerical patterns that are on the cheat sheet, but they don't have to be. What I really mean are phrases, tiny little musical ideas. And those ideas aren't truly bound by a subdivision or time signature. Whatever pattern, lick, or phrase that you choose can ultimately be played in any subdivision you wish. The simplest example is taking the 3-note pattern from the cheat sheet. Again, these aren't triplets. When I played that, I'm actually hearing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was a 3-note grouping in quintuplets in 5/4.
That's why you broke. Play 4/4, mother.
I have thoughts on that. I might have to deal with you in a later video. When some people say triplet, what they really mean is a 3-note pattern. That's confusing as f***. Please stop. I don't care where you heard that from. I don't care who your teacher was, if they taught that to you. Whoever taught that to you, whoever said that was wrong. If you care about properly and clearly communicating your ideas to students or other musicians, please stop. So for me, understanding the difference between a 3-note grouping and triplets was huge. Not just because I like semantics, which arguably I do. But once I understood those two dimensions were separate, that meant that I could put that 3-note pattern anywhere I wanted to on the subdivision level. Now, this is a fairly heavy point, and I have to stop, because if you don't really understand how subdivisions work, then I have to suggest some reading material. For you non-drummers, I would suggest Rhythm and Meter Patterns by Gary Chafee. Mostly this book has single line exercises and etudes. It does a really good job of taking you through odd groupings and odd subdivisions, and it's a great book. For my drummers, I would recommend the Unreal book by Mark Atkinson. That was one of the first books that I got that really opened my eyes to how deep the rabbit hole went in terms of rhythm, because it took me all the way from 1 note per beat or quarter notes to 64th notes or 16 notes per beat. So I hit 11 lets and 13 lets, and I didn't really understand what I was going through and what I was learning until 8 years after I had gone through the book the first time. So for all of my drummers, anybody that's not a drummer or that's not interested in drumming and how that works with the concepts that I talked about, you're free to go. If you're still here, I'm not kicking you out. I'm just trying to warn you. It's just going to be drum stuff from here on. So if you're curious, good on you. But if you're a drummer and you wanted to see what you could practice right now, you're in luck, because... So let's talk about routines. I use the cheat sheet all the time, and I have been fortunate enough to go through several drum books, have many influences. I've learned how to make this cheat sheet work for me and where I am, and hopefully I can show you how to do the same. Here's a warning for my beginners. I can't show you what a paradiddle is. That's not what I do. There's a million drum videos that have paradiddles in them. If you don't know what a paradiddle is, you shouldn't be here. If you don't know what 16th notes are, you shouldn't be here. Go look those up. You're on the internet, you found me. I have to assume that you know a couple of core things before I continue. So just a forewarning. If you don't know the basics, go learn the basics. Go learn the foundations of drumming and your instrument and what your note rates are and how to read and all of those things. The first way I learned how to use the cheat sheet was to play them all in my left hand, kind of like you do when you're learning how to play jazz. You can do it straight. can do it swung. You can do it on top of bossa nova, ostinato. You can play through the cheat sheet with your bass drum while playing a paradiddle between your hi-hat and your snare drum with your hands. And you also don't have to be limited to a paradiddle. So here's how I started to make the cheat sheet work for me. Instead of playing a paradiddle, I chose a 5-note pattern. This really helped solidify the 5-note spacing for me. So I took a slurred 5-stroke roll leading with the single stroke. Some people would call it a tap 5. Right, left, right, left, right, left. Then I played the cheat sheet through with my bass drum. That really helped me hear quintuplets a lot better. One thing I really like to do that gave me some interesting choppy types of phrases is to alternate the cheat sheet between my right and my left while filling in the gaps or the spaces with my bass drum and trying to play quarter notes in whatever note rate I'm in with my hi-hat foot. could also use the cheat sheet to clean up your playing by playing unison notes between your bass drum, your snare hand, and your hi-hat or ride cymbal while keeping quarter notes on your left foot. Thank you guys for watching. If you're familiar with what I do, which probably won't be many of you, hopefully you guys will become familiar with me as I become familiar with YouTube and how to do this properly. If you guys have any ideas about what I should be covering, or if you think of an idea that falls in line with my Drumosophy, as it were, which is rhythm and the philosophy of music, let me know. I have some things on the docket, a couple of episodes in my production schedule, which is fairly non-existent at the moment, and I need to stop squeaking my chair and shifting my weight. I will become disciplined for you guys, I swear. Did I ever answer the question for real why this took so long? I felt bad and I felt like I was procrastinating, but the truth is, shit happens.